Okay, let's talk about Rarity. Rarity has a chance to upgrade a normal to a magic, magic to a rare, rare to unique, and the same goes for currency like Orbs. These happen in a way where getting Divine still isn't a rain from the sky situation, and you mostly see Rarity affect gameplay in the form of more Exalts, Chaos Orbs, less white base drops outside of Breachstones, and more drops of unique items such as Sierran Inheritance and Black Braid. If you were to be aiming to drop every lootable unique in the game, Rarity is going to be what gets you there, paired with a character strong enough to clear content quickly. This includes mobility, aka the speed you can get around the map. Rarity is good to the extent that it slows player power down or reaches diminishing returns. I think around 150% or so it starts becoming a question of what you might be sacrificing in terms of speed, defenses, etc. Keep in mind it stacks between rarity on the character and map rarity, so you don't have to invest it all in one spot. Many people just use tablets or towers and waystones specifically with quantity and rarity on it and don't put as much on the character. I feel like having a lot on the character allows you to have more freedom of using trash waystones and still getting good drops, but it's always best if you want the most rarity to stack the quantity from the waystones, the quantity from the tablets and the towers, and rarity on the character itself. Increased rare monsters and increased magic monsters helps as well as pack size. Every monster has a monster level and thus a drop pool. They also have a no drop chance where normal monsters have the highest likelihood to drop nothing. This is why targeting rare monsters gives the best likelihood to drop something good. Low to no zero drop chance on top of a good possibility of rolling magics up to rares and rares up to uniques. This could turn a Sapphire Ring drop that was rare into Dream Fragments, the unique version, or the same with a Stellar Amulet turning into Astramentus, or even better, Yix. This is just a theory, but I believe when rare monsters get extra modifiers, it's either increasing the rarity or the quantity of the drops. Probably the quantity would be the most likely thing because it's another stat line, so I would believe that probably the quantity of the drops gets boosted by more mods on a rare monster. Rarity doesn't seem to matter as much on bosses. It seems to matter most versus rare mobs, dense breaches, and maps in general because most bosses outside map bosses have a set loot pool where rarity probably doesn't have an effect. It's likely just a pool of potential drops competing with some being more or less likely to show up. For pinnacle bosses, something that would influence this, for instance, would be the difficulty level. If you're fighting the breach boss Zesht, you're literally only capable of dropping the controlled metamorphosis jewel from tier 4 from the hardest difficulty. You're more likely to get non-boss specific unique drops off a rare monster than a map boss because the loot table from the map boss is always usually taken up by at least 1 to 2 waystones, where one seems to be a guaranteed drop almost every time. Also, rares are just more common, giving you more rolls at potentially getting the items you want. At the end of the day, getting the drops is going to be a numbers game. The more runs you can do quickly with high rarity, the more you're going to yield. In my experience doing probably a few hundred maps now with over 200 rarity, I see the effect mostly in Chaos Orb drops being more common, Exalts sometimes dropping that would have been Regal Orbs, and unique items resulting from base types that don't often drop as uniques. Fortunately for most players without rarity, these are usually not needed for any particular build, so you don't really have to invest in rarity to get divine drops and stuff like that. Some would even say many of those type of items are hard to come by uniques and just leveling gear or just chance shards. I personally like filling up my unique stash tab, despite the fact that I'll probably never completely finish a grail. I think Chaos Orbs get upgraded to Divine Orbs to Annulment Orbs, and Annulment Orbs to Mirrors. But getting even an Orb of Annulment is still insanely rare, and the chance of it becoming a mirror is even rarer than that. Probably like a 1% chance or something ridiculously low, which may be a case for rarity helping to possibly increase the chances to drop an already impossibly low rate item. I definitely think if you're trying to find every droppable unique in the game, that rarity's the way to go. If you're trying to maybe re-roll Val a couple Pillar of the Cage gods because you want to increase one of the stat lines on it or something, rarity's going to help get a lot of those unless you're just trading for uncorrupted ones and shit. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of benefits out of rarity. I guess unless it's really hurting your character speed. I managed to make a character that doesn't suffer any from having the rarity on my shield, and I've put a video out on it already, but I'm going to do another one with an even better version. So look out for that. I know some of this is theory. I'm just going off what I think is the most likely way that certain things work. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I'm always open for discussion. Also, let me know, does rarity affect the amount of gold that you drop? I don't really notice much of a difference, but to sum it all up, you get more exalts, more chaos mostly, and also more uniques, whether it's trash uniques or good uniques, just more. I think if you want to farm divines, you want to make a character that can move really fast through maps and take out as many rares as possible per hour to get as many drop chances at getting divines. That's what's going to give you the most likelihood to drop what would have been a chaos orb as a divine orb. Because of this, even having just 1% rarity could possibly be worth it on just one piece of gear. I saw a test done with Venter's Gamble used to drive the character into negative rarity, ran on like 50 white maps with no mods on them from tablets, no map mods, anything. You literally can't drop anything further than an orb of augmentation. You literally can't drop regal orbs when you have negative rarity. So that would lead me to believe that my 1% theory, it being worth it, and then the more that you get, it's going to benefit the unique side of things, the higher you stack the rarity. But even just having a little bit on your character is going to give you that chance for the exalt to roll up to the chaos up for the divine up to the annulment up to the mirror. And more rarity, of course, will also help with that, but it's going to be very diminishing for those really, really rare items like the Orb of Annulment or the Mirror. Keep in mind, these currency items can drop just on their own without having been rolled up from the previous currency level. And I believe what would influence that is like a higher level monster, a rare monster with more mods on it, and things such as that. Fortunately, a lot of times you see rarity paired with quantity on maps, which gives you more drops that have more chances to roll up to the next tier of that particular currency item, or even rare to unique, normal to magic, magic to rare. A map with high rarity, high quantity, increased rare monsters, things like that could really give you really good drops paired with towers that are also juiced up with quantity and rarity. If you wanted to farm for normal level items to hit with chance orbs, you could drive your rarity into the negative with a Venter's Gamble and literally get stellar amulet bases, sapphire rings, possibly even just farm higher level areas in order to craft items. I know especially closer to the launch of the game, rarity was a really controversial topic, but I think as people learn more of the mechanics within the game, they're going to become less controversial. I've been farming a lot with it. I still haven't dropped the mirror yet. But, I really think that you do have to make some sacrifices in order to really stack your rarity super high. Like I could be using Svalin instead of Mahuksadal's shield or whatever with all the rarity on it. Or I could be having the Jaquani soul cores instead of the Az Kappas that give the rarity and be getting like 36% more health. So, I mean, you're making sacrifices. I tried to look some numbers up, and apparently each additional modifier that a rare monster gets gives quantity and rarity, so that's pretty nasty. I'm not sure if the rare monsters inside of a map are a higher level, monster level than the map, but I do know if you have the Atlas boss passive tree invested into plus the boss difficulty, it does make the boss a higher level than the map. I think it's harder to stack rarity against the boss on your character than it is to stack it for the clear of the map, take out more rares within an hour, get more drop chances. I mean, you could take out the boss with high rarity as well, but for my circumstance with having the rarity on my shield, if I was to do Hammer of the Gods with that side instead of my weapon swap for the boss, it'll take like 30 seconds to kill the boss rather than one shot him. Consider the possibility that every 100% increased rarity causes maybe 10% chance for an Exalt to roll up to a Chaos. Maybe at 200%, it goes down to where you only get maybe like 16% increased chance. And then at 300%, you're up to maybe 18% chance. 400%, you're at 20% chance. But at what point does your player power dip below the point where it's not worth having that much rarity? Let me know what you think. What's your thoughts? Let me know where I'm wrong. Hope you all have a great day. Appreciate you so much for stopping by, and I hope I see you again in the next video.